This is Andy Gutierrez from StarWars.com, and you are listening to Coffee with Kenobi with Dan Z. This is the podcast you're looking for.
This is James Arnold Taylor, and you're listening to Coffee with Kenobi. I have a good feeling about this.
Hello, my friends, and welcome back to another episode of CWK Live every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm your host, Dan Thayer, thrilled to be talking Star Wars with each and every one of you. Well, hello, everybody. It's a great way to get ready and gear up for the new episode of Ahsoka, which comes out in 59 minutes from the beginning of the show, after the credits, the intros, what have you. So I am fired up and ready to go. Let's bring in our friends. Let's bring in Minta. This is the way. It's CWK Tano Tuesday. Hello, Minta. Great to see you. Mary is here. Happy Tano Tuesday, everyone. Happy to see you. Mary, as always. Terry is here. What's up, Terry? Great to see you, buddy. Great to see you. Scott is back. Scott, howdy. Great to see you, my friend. Mary says, I love that last clip in the intro with so many of us at the Sublight Lounge. I know. Every time I see it, it makes me really happy because members of this amazing community that joined us on the Halcyon are also joining us on CWK Live. So it's pretty cool to see us all sitting there talking at the table because that's kind of what we're doing here. So it's just really awesome. Father Jimmy is here checking in from Bethesda. Someday, Father Jimmy, I'll say Bethesda correctly the first time I know it. I heard it on Tony Kornheiser all the time. It's another Tano Tuesday, so we're ready to rock and roll. Tonight's, of course, again, it's our CWK Live Ahsoka pre-show. We're going to talk all about your top 5 moments from Ahsoka Time to Fly. We've got some Star Wars news, big Star Wars news, I think, and your comments and questions. So now, let's take a look at what is brewing in the world of Star Wars this week.
And now, let's see what's brewing in the Star Wars universe this week.
Here we go. So today, if you are a fan of Star Wars The High Republic, there are some characters that you absolutely can't get enough of. And today is a really important release for you. This is Tales of Light and Life. It's a series, a collection of short stories set in many different decades, or I don't know if decades is the right word, but many different eras in the universe of the High Republic, that incredible Star Wars mythology that has been such a tour de force of excellence in literature, storytelling, nurturing brand new characters. And today is the release of Tales of Light and Life. So be sure to check that out. I may have a giveaway for you pretty soon about that book. So we will just stay tuned to Coffee with Kenobi for more information on that. Okay. Darren says, is it just me? I wish the link to these shows were easier to find. You know what? I'm sorry, buddy. I know it's on YouTube. I know it's always on Coffee with Kenobi's Facebook page. And I know that there's always, when I post these, I know there's always it sets like an event, a Facebook event, and I think you can see it there as well. So send me a message if you have any trouble, but hopefully that is how you can do it. Scott says, short stories, nice. I can use them in class. So you might be able to. Yeah, there's some interesting things there. I love that you are also a teacher that uses Star Wars. No wonder we get along so well. All right, so HasLab time. You know that we've been talking about the Ghost since it was announced at San Diego Comic-Con. And now they unlocked Ezra, right? So there are different tiers that unlock depending on how many people sign up for the Ghost. So Ezra, it was the first one to be unlocked. And he was at, I think, 11,000 backers. Is that right? Yeah, he was at 11,000 backers. So this is, Hasbro sent me some high-res images. I posted them on Coffee with Kenobi's website today, coffeewithkenobi.com. I was thinking YouTube, Facebook, the website, coffeewithkenobi.com. So I've got a lot of high-res images that are available for you for the different characters. There, of course, is Ezra. You do have less than 24 hours if you want to sign up to get the Ghost. Less than 24 hours to sign up to be a part of the Ghost. There's another look at Ezra with his green lightsaber and the blaster on the hip. great news. This was the one thing that was holding me back. And now I have no excuses. Well, that's not entirely true. It is still expensive. But Kanan is unlocked. Here is a great look at Kanan. It comes with he's got the mask that he wears in seasons 3 and 4. Underneath that mask is just the classic Kanan with the ponytail and the goatee. And then you can pop on the one of him when he cuts his hair towards the end of season 4. He's got his blaster, his lightsaber both on and off. And again, this is vintage collection size, so they're 3 3/4. Okay. And then the next one, I'm going to make myself disappear for a second. And there's the other two that I was talking about. So there's Kanan on the right, the classic Kanan from seasons 1 and 2. And on the left is him with just a close-up of the mask. And you can see that you can fit that lightsaber on his hip, which is pretty awesome. It's a pretty cool thing. So again, he is unlocked. So that is great. Terry says 14,578 is the count right now. They need to get to 14,000 to unlock Kanan. So how about it? And Terry and I and Liberty were talking about it quite a bit. I know Brian Romersberger was too on CWK, on our Facebook group, the CWK Cafe, enabling each other as we are want to do. Mary says, what's the number for the next tier? The next tier is 17,000, Mary. The next tier is 17,000. There's the last look at Kanan in his classic look. All right, so you asked about Zeb. Ta-da! It's like I was using the Force and read your mind, Mary. Yeah, 17,000 backers are required for Zeb. The only thing I'm not crazy about with Zeb, and I've said this before, I just feel like the smirk on his face. Well, I get that he does that. That's not really his default expression in my mind, but still a cool looking figure. And if we get to 17,000, you'll have everybody that they have offered. And then they have already said that they will put Sabine and Chopper on that mural card back, as I said last week, and revealed on the interview I did with members of the Hasbro Star Wars creative team for an additional charge. So there you go. I got a couple more pictures of Zeb for you. Let me get rid of my mug. There you go. So there's some great poses. I still marvel at how they are able to pose these figures. They just look so cool. There's Zeb with his blaster. And I like this last picture too, with it on the back. I just think that is just stunning. So then the real question you got to ask yourself is, okay, when you get these figures, if you do become a member, or if you do sign up for this, do you open them? I mean, they're on these special exclusive card backs from the famous Rebels mural. So do you open them, or do you keep them on that really cool card? You could always buy 2 ghosts and get one of each figure, but I'm not. I wish I was in that position, but I am not. But it's a pretty cool thing. We're super excited. And speaking of the ghost, Ross is he is busy right now. I think Tuesdays is. I think he's busy on Tuesday nights for the most part. But this is his fault, and I mean this with all the love in my heart. He posted in the CWK Cafe, or maybe it was on his Instagram. And Ross, of course, Ross, Hollivan, and Jen Subchakchai join me regularly to break down every episode of Ahsoka. And you can see it says Ahsoka here on my hat backwards. By the way, I'm not normally a backwards hat guy, but when I wore the hat regular with the shadows and lighting in my studio, you couldn't see my face. I'm like, all right, I'll just be backwards hat guy for this. Anyway, so Ross, the enabler, he inspired me or cajoled me, or he didn't directly say anything, but I just saw the picture. That's called being an influencer, and I bought it. I couldn't wait. And I had this grand design of I think there's 12 bags in this thing? I can't remember. And I thought, I'll just open a bag a day. I'll just leisurely build it. No problem. Take me about 2 weeks. So this is bag 1. This is, I can't remember this character's name. I'll look it up on the box. Pardon me. Talk amongst yourselves while I do this. So it looks like this character's name is Lieutenant Beta, Beyta. So he was in the first bag, and so was Phantom 2. And this is the Phantom 2, the Lego of it. There is the front of it. There's the side, the back, the sides and the back of it. It's a cool one. The cockpit opens up here. I'm always nervous to open these things. There you go. You can fit a character right inside there. Super fun. Boom. So that's bag one. And remember my wonderfully lofty but leisurely goal of opening one bag a day and just sort of enjoying myself. It took me like 4-hour sessions to build that. Okay. I might be a little rusty on the Lego thing. It's been a while since I built the Razor Crest a couple of years ago. So I'm having a blast. I love it. I think building Legos is actually really good for your brain. It's like a jigsaw puzzle in 3D, plus you're creating Star Wars. And I'm even good at the stickers, which I didn't think would be a case. I thought it might be all over the place, but so far so good. It's fun. I would love to tell you by next week I'll have the whole Ghost built. Highly unlikely. I wish that were the case, but it just takes time. But it's fun. It's an absolute blast. Brian's here. This is a Tuesday I've been looking for. Brian, welcome back to the show, big guy. Good to see you. Terry is also saying go Ross. Terry is another great enabler. Mary says that Ross said he has the first bag finished as well. That sounds about right. Sounds about right. Darren says Star Wars Lego sets awesome. They're fun. They are fun. But the main reason you were here, I know, is to get into our top 5. Let's do it. It is our top 5 CWK Live's top 5 moments from the most recent episode of Ahsoka. The episode is top 5 moments from Ahsoka. Time to fly. You've got your list ready. It's time to join us. Let's do this. Brian says, I have a friend who has built several of those Star Wars Lego sets. He sends me pictures after every step, and he has me guess the end result. Well, that's fun. I do, of course, do a little bit of a video and pictures like that for these as well. But now we're going to talk about part 3 of Ahsoka. A fabulous episode that I went wild for, as you heard last week on Coffee with Kenobi. It was my favorite of the short season so far. Let's get into the top 5. Number 5 for me, Space Sabers. Ahsoka says, I'm going to handle this. She goes out on the wing of the Jedi cruiser, and she's got this blue suit on, which obviously keeps her able to be in the vacuum of space. She pulls out her double lightsabers, and boom. Now, we've seen this in animation, but we've never seen it in live action before, and I thought it was beautifully choreographed. The effects were great. The sound mixing on this whole episode is terrific. It could have easily been all of my top 5s as the sound mixing, but it was just a cool, fun, exciting thing, and I like when they push the boundaries and try new things, and I feel like mission accomplished here in number 5 with Ahsoka fighting outside. Terry, in no particular order, the spacesuit comparison to Clone Wars with Anakin. There you go. I am honored to have the same one as you, Terry. Minta, Ahsoka fighting on the ship. Look at that. And I get to be like with me too. This is a good day for me. Kind of a nice throwback to a few Clone Wars episodes, like the one involving Plo Koon and the Wolfpack. Oh, that's a great one as well. Good comparison. Mon Mothma is Mary's number 5. Mon Mothma and the senators around the table. Hera kicking back at Senator Xiono. That's right, who as was pointed out to me on Coffee with Kenobi, that is Kazuto Xiono, or Kaz from Star Wars Resistance. That is his father, and I didn't catch that the first time around. Father Jimmy also has the same number 5 as myself and Terry and Minta. Number 5 is the Ahsoka space fight. It was so cool. And yes, wouldn't it be cool to get an action figure of this? Yes. I always look over to the distance as if I'm looking at my different figures that I've got scattered around, which remind me to tell you a story about that. Okay, let's go to number 4. Number 4, I got to get those Casey Kasem sounds. Introspective cliffhanger at the very, very end. We see Baylan Skoll asking everyone to go on the hunt for Ahsoka and Sabine, and he's just standing there, and he's just standing there, and his cape is kind of flowing a little bit, or his cloak, and the camera zooms in on him very, very slowly, just to me showing some introspection going on. This isn't just some mustache twitcher, bad guy, the classic bad guy that wants to hunt down and destroy good. Like there's something going on here. And I don't know what it is. And you know me, I don't speculate, so I really don't know. But I like that we're setting him up to be more than just a bad guy. Like if you have Jedi abilities and you're a mercenary, those are massively opposite concepts, opposite philosophies, opposite mandates for how you govern your life. So I'm assuming that that's where this introspection comes from. We will find out. Brian's 5 was Sabine training with Hu Yang, which was awesome. Very, very cool. Minta, number 4, is little Jason's debut. He's looking more like his father, and he longs to be a Jedi, which is great. Anything's possible. Maybe Ahsoka's next Padawan. Oh, interesting. Maybe. Terry's next one is Ahsoka adjusting to Sabine's level during the attack, which was awesome to see. A great sequence. Mary's 4, Sabine saying to the cup, "You won this round." That was fun. I thought that was pretty charming. Number 4 for Father Jimmy, Shin's dislike of Morgan, punctuated by the line, "Congratulations, you almost got them." Yeah, they've got a rivalry there, don't they, Father? That I think is super cool. Like really fascinating. And it'd be cool to see how it plays out. Scott's next one is Ahsoka's spacewalk, reminding me of her incredible abilities. Featured in 2 particular episodes of Clone Wars. When he jumped from ship to ship into Mandalore. Oh, yeah, when she does that. And in the final episode, as she fell during the Star Destroyer, I think I got all that right. I think you did. I think you're safe, my friend. Brian's 4 is the Starfighter dogfights. It was great. And then they have E-Wings in this episode. And Shin's, I forget the name of the ship. I know there's a Lego of it, but very cool. Lego's got a lot of great Ahsoka stuff, which of course they do. But I'm only on bag 2, okay? I'll get there. Maybe I will. Let's go to number 3. Number 3, I put training. That's like an 8 to 9 minute sequence. And there are a lot of individual things. We certainly went through them in much more detail on this week's Coffee with Kenobi. Well, actually last Thursday's Coffee with Kenobi. But it's the most recent one that's been out. And learning what we learn about how the Force is perceived and what they think about what's going on. Sabine's frustration and also the realism of how she handles that and how Ahsoka calls it out. And then, as was mentioned earlier, her changing to meet Sabine's intensity. It was just masterful. It was a great teaching sequence that I really enjoyed. Darren says, yes, seeing the E-Wing was cool. So cool. Minta's number 3 is congratulations. She almost got them. Talk about a sick burn. Exactly. That rivalry there, as Father mentioned. Terry says, Jason, Chopper, and Chancellor Mon Mothma appearances. Yeah, first time we've seen live action Chancellor Mon Mothma. Previously, that was how she is known in the Aftermath books. But pretty cool to see. All right, let's go to number 2. I do a little math there. Subtract 1 from 3. Purgills is my number 2. Anyone who knows me or has heard me talk on the show has heard me talk about my love of Purgills and anything Star Wars Rebels. And of course, this is a big old massive, wonderful love letter to this sort of a thing. And seeing them in live action and hearing them in live action and the music and just the special effects on this are just peerless, absolutely peerless, terrifically cool, terrifically fun. I enjoyed every moment of it and seeing it and sort of the wonder that they have. Even the villains, temporarily, you can tell that they know this is something special. And it was something special for us as viewers. And I love seeing them. And that's why it's my number 2. Brian's 3 is Hu Yang's humor. I have several thoughts on everything else going on. Hu Yang is always a scene stealer, isn't he? 3 for Mary was Chopper and Jason together in the hallway. That's an interesting duo. Ever better watch out with Chopper hanging out with Jason, right? Yeah, Chopper is probably a bad influence, but there's also no one who would be more loyal to Jason, I would think. So that's pretty cool. Terry says, how can I see with the blast shield down, Luke/Sabine? I know, right? Every Star Wars fan had to be like, ding, 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 had to be excited when you heard that. Father Jimmy, the dialogue between Hu Yang and Ahsoka shows the tension between how the Jedi used to do things, now Ahsoka is doing things now. Yes, definitely. And while she's always acknowledging that, she still doesn't always venture too far off that path, but sort of blazing her own trail. And I don't feel like it's ever done out of rebellion as far as, like some immature child, but more of just like trusting in her gut, trusting in her connection with the Force. And it's really great to see. Minta's number 2, the form of training that Ahsoka uses for Sabine is unique. I found that it was similar to Luke's training with Kenobi minus the droids, of course. Oh yeah, that's a good connection. Interesting. Mary's number 2, the space battle, then Hu Yang powering back up and asking what he missed, which was pretty fun. Father Jimmy's number 2, when Ahsoka says, Sabine, tell me what you need. Such a great moment of growth. Yes, and Hu Yang says, if we don't sort of change our strategy, we're not going to be around for long. That's a paraphrase. He was right. And Ahsoka's no fool. She's quite intelligent and quite wise, and she realizes she's got to embrace Sabine and her incredible skills in combat, especially. Brian Balin's silent stance at the end. Yes, like my number 4. His ability to be able to see the future is so enticing. What is he thinking? And we're going to find out very, very soon, about, 38 minutes or so. So exciting. Again, Tuesday nights. I mean, I always loved Tuesday nights, but now that it's coupled with seeing a brand new Ahsoka as soon as CWK Live is over, I couldn't have asked for anything better. It just gets so exciting, and I find myself even more keyed up for these shows than I usually am. But now, let's look at our number 1 moment from Time to Fly, the third part of Ahsoka. For me, Hera has spoken. It hasn't come up yet. You heard me gush about it on Coffee with Kenobi last week. You know that I've been very reluctant when it comes to Hera in live action, because I just wasn't sure what I was going to get with Mary Elizabeth Winstead. And boy, did she bring her A game. This was awesome. When Hera stands up to the senators and to Kaz's father and basically questions if he knows what he's talking about, but she's not passive aggressive. She's just right there in his face. And she's not disrespectful, but she's also not backing down. And I think there's an art and a skill to negotiation and to confrontation. And she also shows a vulnerable side when she gets choked up with the notion that Ezra might not be around. And I loved it. I was so happy. I said out loud a bunch of times to Mason, Hera, that's Hera. That is so classic Hera. And I loved it. So that was an easy number 1 for me. The Purgils, love you Purgils, but Hera being Hera is just magnificent for me. So number 1 for Mary is also the Purgil. Purgils are so cool. Minta's number 1 is the tie. First, the Purgils. It was great to see them live live up and close. It gave me chills. Part 2 is Ahsoka stating that anyone can use the Force. It just takes a lot of patience and concentration. Maybe we can all use the Force in some way or another. And I'm so interested in that line, Minta, so I'm really glad you brought that up. Because I don't know. She says that everyone has the Force in them because the Force is in every living thing. But I still don't think everybody can use it. And I don't know. Maybe Sabine will be able to. It's hard for me to imagine that Ahsoka would say that if she didn't really believe it, because she's not someone who would not be direct and honest with Sabine, or maybe she is. We're going to learn a lot about these two and their relationship, and more about the Force in general through this series, which is great. So great food for thought there, Minta. Terry's number 1 also, like Mary's, is Purgils. Number 1 for Father Jimmy, live action Purgils, and 1B Danzy's Purgil call in the last episode of CWK. It's funny you brought that up. Yeah, I did make the sound effect, didn't I? Brian, Ahsoka re-embracing the role of teacher to Sabine in the middle of the dogfight. Sabine, what do you need? Yeah, so good. And who else brought that up? I'm rewinding myself. Someone said, what do you need? Oh, gosh, I don't see it. Well, whoever said it again, you have been echoed because it was great. Father is going to take a break. Father, we will see you later. Good luck and enjoy the episode. Let me know what you think. No problem at all. So again, yeah, my number one is Hera has spoken. Hera didn't come up yet for anybody. How interesting. Yeah, that one is just a stunner to me because I've been waiting and hoping to see Hera. Daniel's on one. Hello, Daniel. He says, is the Ahsoka space lightsaber fight terrific? Great sequence to see that in live action for sure. Okay, if anybody else has any more, please be sure to comment, or you can certainly put it on the CWK Cafe later. Next week, of course, your top 5 moments from part 4 of Ahsoka. Terry says, honorable mention for me was the ship Shin flew. It resembled a model similar to that of Grievous. It absolutely did. Gar is here. Hello, Gar. He says, best episode yet. Agree with you. Lots of great action. Sabine is set up as an underdog while not having a natural proclivity for the Force makes us root for her even more. You are correct. And then Mary astutely points out Hera was your number 5. That's right, because that's when we first talked about Kaz's father, Senator Ziono. So yes, Mary, you are absolutely correct. Sorry, I forgot about that. So much on my brain. I mean, it's already challenging enough. I'm wearing a backwards hat I'm not used to. Okay, let's go ahead and jump and ask Dan Z. Okay, let's do this. Daniel says, even though it was short, it was so full of content and action, dogfights. And before it started, I looked at the time and I said to Mason, sometimes the shortest episodes of Mando in the Book of Boba Fett are the best. And they packed a lot into this one. It was terrific. It definitely did not disappoint. Okay, well, you can jump in here and ask me any thoughts you have or questions you have on Star Wars or Ahsoka, or just Coffee with Kenobi in general. Don't forget, while I'm thinking about it, a couple of things to share with you. Of course, there's been a lot of talk today about the Disney Treasure, which is the newest Disney cruise ship that isn't open for another year. But in the latest one that's actually out and people are sailing on is the Disney Wish. We're going to go on that in the summer of 2025, Coffee with Kenobi and Mouse Fan Travel, just like our friends who went on the Halcyon Star Cruiser voyage. And boy, I've been thinking about the Halcyon a lot, especially as in 25 days it's going to shut down, and thinking a lot about our friends and how much fun we had on that. So I hope that you can join us and we can all make some brand new Star Wars memories together on the Wish. And you've got 2 years to save for it. As soon as Disney announces dates, I will let you know what we're looking at. Brian, what was my favorite Lego set you've put together so far? I really think it's the X-34 Luke's Land Speeder, the deluxe model. I put that together when I had COVID, when it came out, and it was just so therapeutic and very challenging, but very, very rewarding. It's got a proud spot in my collection. How's the HasLab Ghost Project? So, Daniel, I don't know the exact number now. In fact, I can look it up. Terry shared it earlier, but hopefully it's even more than it was before. But the HasLab has reached the threshold for having Kanan be unlocked. So that is great news. So now you got to get to 17,000 for Zeb to be unlocked. I am checking it out right now on my app, unless someone is able to just jump in there and see it. Let's see. It looks like we are on. Oh gosh, I should open up my app. Does anybody know? Hasbro. It keeps opening up the app, which is not letting me see how many have submitted right now. So hopefully somebody can jump in and let me know. Mary says, am I correct? That Sabine's clan of Ren is part of the Vizsla clan, so does that give her some Force abilities and her genes from the original Mandalorian Jedi? Well, maybe, but just because you have the Force in your family doesn't always mean that everybody in your family is strong in the Force or Force sensitive. So it's possible. You're right about the ancestry. But it is possible, but that is yet to be established. I'm looking forward to seeing how to address, and I'm appreciating sort of the slow burn of how they are letting us see that. Those episodes, I see episode 4 is about 42 minutes. Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know that, so that's great. I'm hoping for a little bit more. Terry has the update for you, Daniel. It is 14,608, which is the current HasLab count. That's awesome. That is awesome. Now, who knows once this thing happens, when they're going to ship. I imagine they got to have to go into production because they don't know how many they're going to need to make. That's part of the fun of the HasLab situation. So we'll find out. I'm sure that when it does, there's going to be a lot of excitement. And gosh, I still haven't officially pulled the trigger yet, but you know, the wheels are in motion. I have to figure out where I'm going to put it. I really like how everything is set up in here, but you know, it's the Ghost. You got to figure it out. I'll tell you what though, one thing I don't have to figure out is where I'm going to spend my Tuesday nights. It's going to be right here with all of you on CWK Live. It's always an absolute blast to talk Star Wars with each and every one of you. Very much looking forward to next week when we can talk about part 4 of Ahsoka. Certainly tune in this week to hear Ross and Jen and I talk about the brand new episode of Ahsoka. Appreciate your thoughts and comments. Be sure to join the CWK Alliance so you can help support me and the show. You get access to over 700 podcasts and videos. Actually, that's on YouTube. Over 200 podcasts and videos that you can't listen to or find anywhere else. We talk about Star Wars, pop culture, all kinds of great things. Last weekend, actually, Corey drove from Tennessee to my house, and Tom came over, and we spent like 9 hours sorting my comics. I have 19 long boxes. So the new CWK Pro that's going to come out this week is going to talk all about that and go behind the scenes. A lot of fun, a lot of laughs, and a lot of controversy over how you organize a comic book collection. You're going to love it. Thank you so much, everybody. Enjoy the show. May the Force be with you all. Be well, stay safe. May the stars light your way. And remember, this is the podcast you're looking for. See you next time, friends. Be well.
This podcast is not endorsed by the Walt Disney Company or Lucasfilm Limited. It is intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. The official Star Wars website can be found at www.starwars.com. Star Wars, all names, sounds, and any other Star Wars related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Disney and their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of Coffee with Kenobi unless otherwise indicated.
This is the podcast you're looking for.